All right, Athlete Builder back at it. I'm in the library and I have a new guest this week. Bryce Roberts comes highly recommended from Chad Dockery. Chad was on episode 13 and been friends with him for a long time. Chad's the AD down at Wright's Memorial down in Evansville, Indiana. Talked to him today. I said, thoughts on Bryce? He led with Bryce is an excellent resource, excellent on leadership. He consults with me monthly after we did a bunch of work right off the bat. He even said his wife is top of the line on the same deal. So who is Bryce? Well, we want to bring on subject matter experts that are great in their fields. And in the athlete builder philosophy and world, there's the head and the body, and the head has two components today we're going to dive into: mindset, and then also teammates, like how do you work with people. So we bring on Bryce, who listed as psychotherapist and leadership consultant. Been doing it for quite a long while. Now he has his own business. He works with people individually, but he also works with teams, organizations, creating a higher level of greater self-awareness, helps teams and companies reaching their goals, sense of wholeheartedness and genuineness. And if you listen to us and know what we're about being authentic. And Bryce has his master's. He has all the letters after his name about being a psychotherapist, and he said it's not insulting to call him a shrink. So other than it's going to be a little bit more than your Fraser Crane from Cheers, but I don't know if we'll get to that Stanley level from the West Wing. But Bryce and I are both wing nuts and dorks that like the West Wing, so we were talking about that before the show started. And so, Bryce, thanks for being on the show today. Thanks for taking the time.
Yeah, happy to be here. Thanks for asking.
For sure. Glad Chad introduced us. He's been a great resource, and it's always good to have somebody from the Buckeye State back on. So I know you're from Ohio. So,
oh, yeah. Are you from Ohio?
Born and raised in Cleveland.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Go Bucks.
Go Bucks is right. So, a lot of times when people pick their profession, sometimes the oldest will follow their parents, or maybe they'll see something on TV or a movie, or they're introduced to something at an early age, where maybe they're handy, so they like construction, or they're athletics, or like sports, or they're intellectual, like something else. And I'm wondering, how does someone come up with being a therapist? Was it trauma or whatever? So how did you decide I'm going to be a psychotherapist and I'm going to work with people and evolve that to teams, etc.? How do we get there?
Yeah, I didn't start here. It was not my first sort of stab at adulthood. So I thought I'd work in ministry. That's where I started out. I had really good experiences growing up in a Catholic setting. Mm-hmm. So I studied that. I got an undergrad in religious studies and philosophy and started getting to work, getting my hands dirty. And so I got a master's in theology too while I was doing that. And the more I got into it, something didn't feel right. I love ministers. Like not a lot of negative things to say here about that, but it just didn't feel right for me. And so I sort of left that work without a plan and found this world of leadership development to be really, really rewarding. Had some really unique experiences and opportunities in that world. And I think as I was sort of developing from sort of adolescent young man into full manhood, I discovered that that was really complementary to my own growth, and that I was good at it. And so as I started refining my own skills in leadership development, organizational development, I thought, well, when I look back at my life, the places where I thrive is in the room with somebody, really getting into the weeds about their own life or their story, and doing that with a lot of empathy and not a lot of judgment. And so this idea of becoming a therapist sort of lit me up. And I have these, once I've figured that out, I have all these like obvious markers. Like you mentioned Stanley from the West Wing. And that, I loved that guy in that show. And I remember watching that in high school and thinking, I want to be like him. Like, that sounds like, what a gig. You get called to go to the White House because someone's struggling and you sit in the room with them and help them figure it out so that they can be a better public servant. Like, and so, yeah, that's the route I went. I got a master's in clinical mental health counseling and then opened my own shop. And so where I'm at is kind of combining all of my experience into one house. So I do some clinical psychotherapy. I do a lot of leadership development and consulting work. And then still dip my toes in the world of sort of ministry and spiritual direction, things like that. So,
Gotcha.
I'm getting some fuzz too from you now. I don't know if that's going to screw you up. Can you edit this or?
Yeah.
Okay.
But I don't hear it, so I don't know.
Good. It's not bothering me. Just making sure you know.
Gotcha. Well, when I talk to other doctors or chiropractors, what I'll hear is the body has a great coping mechanism. So if my right ankle is out of alignment, then my left knee will compensate, and then as it moves up, the next joint up is my right hip and kind of goes up in a zigzag, and then your left shoulder, and then your neck. So essentially your body thinks it's straight and in alignment, but it's always compensating. And what a lot of times the doctors or even the chiropractors will try to do is get us untangled physically so that we can optimize ourselves physically. And it sounds like what you do is similar in that you untangle people mentally and emotionally so they can optimize themselves mentally and emotionally and communicate with others and their teammates and help build winning teams. I don't want to put words in your mouth, but it sounds like you try to get people out of their own way so they can improve their performance.
Yeah, I think I would say as therapists, our goal is to give people the tools, the perspective, and the environment to be able to do that work on their own. So no one's dependent on me to
Gotcha.
get congruent or get in alignment or however you want to put it.
Teaching them to fish instead of fishing for them.
Yeah, right.
Right? It takes a little while to become a good fisherman. I've been trying the last couple of years, and it's a slow process for me, literally.
Yeah. What do you
But,
fish?
Usually whatever's in like neighborhood ponds and streams. So
Okay.
bass and catfish. I haven't been in the rivers here yet to do any like smallmouth, but those are all. If I have free time, that's what I like to do is go out and fish. And so Chad mentioned that you and your wife are kind of like in a similar industry, so there's overlap. In my prior background, you said you started off in theology and you went over to working with teams and individuals without the ministry component for the most part. Like I started off in finance and investments. And so when I'm talking to people and they start mentioning finance and investments, like that hat goes back on.
Mm-hmm.
Or when I talk to athletes and coaches, my hat is already on about helping them be better athletes and coaches. So when you're out meeting with Joe Public or coming across folks, or is it hard to keep the hat off, or is the hat always on and you're actively listening, or just kind of just happens, you can't turn it off? What's that like for you guys?
Well, I've chosen work that I find deeply meaningful. It's a big part of who I am is this work, and so I'm not like going around town diagnosing people everywhere I go, or something. I'd go a little batty if I did that, and I'm not sure other people would appreciate it,
Right.
Although I think I got you pegged here, that's what.
Nice.
Yeah, just kidding.
That didn't take long.
Yeah, right. No, I don't. I can put that piece down, but I am often in the back of my head, especially if people are talking about work and, kind of bitching about what's going on, and I'll start thinking, man, I think I could help. Like, put me in. Like, I want to get in the weeds there and help out. So, yeah, I'd say some parts I turn off real easily, but if people are talking about things where I think I can be of service, my wheels start spinning. So,
Gotcha.
yeah.
There's those, I'm not sure of the one, but there's all those insurance commercials where it seems like the whole purpose is to be funny.
Yeah.
And the one insurance commercial is how, hey, don't turn into your parents, where you're talking to the guy at the gas station, or you're showing how you're always kind of like giving advice.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, shit, that's been me since I was forever. I'm always sticking my nose in. And my wife's like, why don't you just shut up every once in a while and just let people go? And I'm like, I know, you're right. It's hard for me to take the hat off and make an impact.
Yeah. Well, you want to talk about that more?
Nice. Here it is, right?
Yeah, right.
Just an open-ended question. Do you want to get deeper into that?
Yeah, right.
Let me ask you this. So, I'll ask people coming to the gym, and it's just Joe Public trying to be healthy. Or I'll be talking to them, and I meet them at the Chamber of Commerce. And they'll ask, what do you do? And I say, I own and operate a gym. I help people, build the best versions of themselves mentally and physically. and I hear, I should get back in the gym. I need to go on a diet. I need to get healthier.
Yeah.
So I listen to that, and so I can then go into the hat and be like, hey, you want to talk about that? You want to set up a time and game plan session? This is what I do for a living. You want me to help you? Yeah, I'll let you know. How much is it, right? Or whatever. And so now, I've heard the answer so many times. I should, and the percentage of follow up is so low. There's no point in me saying, hey, do you want to talk about that? There's no return on investment that's meaningful enough. The expected return is too low. So then I simply say, do you want me to just empathize and listen, or do you actually want to move forward?
Yeah. What do you need from me right now?
Yeah, or you're just making lip service and making small talk.
Yeah.
Which is totally cool. But
Yeah, I've often, I get a lot of shoulds and have tos. Like I have to get back to doing that, or we should hire you. Like we should be looking at our team performance or something. And the framework I've given people is, if you're using shoulds and have tos, you are talking out of a space of powerlessness.
Yes.
That if I have to go to work, or I have to go to school, or I have to go to practice, or I have to. I've given my power away to that thing. It's got power over me. I have to go do it. And so how do we reframe that in a way that is more empowering? So instead of saying I have to go to the gym, you might say I get to go do that. That's going to help me feel like, and just that flip of catching my language, what's coming out of my mouth, even if you don't believe it, sometimes just reframing it a little bit can be enough to get you there.
My kids and everyone around me are tired of me saying get to when they say I should or whatever, blah, blah, blah. I say get to. I need to get this done. I said, you get to get this done, right? But the word I use often, and I try to make myself use this word, is when I've decided to move forward in an area, and it's the word must. So I signed up for this New York City SEAL swim, and my background is not swimming.
Okay.
I learned how to swim when I was a kid. And I swim up to the bar at an all-inclusive resort.
Yeah.
And I swam some laps like right out of college, just to be a little healthier. But that's it. For the last 10 years, it was how big and strong can I get?
Okay.
And take myself to 320 pounds, but could carry 300 in each hand. Right? Could walk with it. So I was just doing strongman and powerlifting, and at 45, I had enough medical instances and injuries and problems where God says, hey, you know what, and your body says, hey, you can keep lifting and training, but you can't do some things anymore. I'm okay. So it took me a while to find some new identity and some new paths, but I'm always going to want to be working out and be healthier. And so also, if I'm not lifting that heavy, I don't need to weigh that much, so I started losing more weight. But anyways, on this show, I've had a number of Navy SEALs on the show, and they do this fundraiser out in New York where they swim across the Hudson.
Okay.
And we do a bunch of push-ups, and it's very patriotic, and et cetera, et cetera. And last year I went and supported them, but they asked me to participate this year. And I was like, fuck, man, that's
intense, yeah.
That's intense, right? Yeah. And so I thought about, because even last year they asked me to come out and do it, and it's in August. So I said I'll come support you guys last August, but I won't be able to do it. And they said, cool. And they said, well, maybe next year. So at that point in June 17th, I decided I'm going to do what I can to be ready in August.
Okay.
So I started saying, hey, I must swim 4 days a week. I must progress weekly. I must get some lessons. I must learn these things, right? As now we're getting closer and closer, we're about a month and 2 days out. There are the musts get bigger because I'm still in some areas not totally comfortable. So I could swim in a pool just fine now. Like before, one length of 25 meters would kill me. I'd be wrecked.
Man.
And so I'd have to rest and then come back. And so the day one, it was 5 lengths down and 5 lengths back, 10 lengths total, 250 meters.
Wow.
Today I swam 4,000 meters without stopping.
Yeah,
Right.
Wow.
So that's pretty neat, right?
Yeah.
But about a month ago, I did this part of a triathlon where I'm in this lake where you can't see because the water's so shitty. And I start to panic. I'm like, I can't see, I can't sight, I can't do this, right? So it became, when I gutted through that, I swam on my back, and because I was really nervous. but I still got through it. It was a very, very short swim, 500 meters. And so I come home and I'm talking with my wife, and we're pretty good at coaching. And she's like, well, you don't have enough reps to be confident. I go, right. So we need more reps in bad water. I go, yes. So then one of my training partners, he has a small lake, big pond at his place. And I'm like, all right, I must swim in this lake at least 2 times a week and do more triathlons that are longer if I'm going to be ready. If I want to be ready, I must do these things. Mm-hmm. It's not like I'd like to. I probably should train. I should train in the water in the lake where you can't see. It's like, no. If I want this end goal, I must do these things.
Yeah.
So I try to frame it that way. That way, it takes the negotiating out, and then I made the decision. I just move forward.
Yeah. What's beneath? Like, what's the motivator? Why do you want to do this?
So that's a big question right there, right?
Yeah.
There's about 20 answers to that. It's on the first page of the journal. So, one, it was a new target, other than just lifting heavy.
Yeah, sure. Something different.
2, show my wife and kids that at 50 years old, because I just turned 50 last December, you can do something completely different, attack a new goal, be physically capable.
Okay.
With the athlete builder approach, building athletes mentally and physically, I wanted to show everyone else that it's not just lip service. I'm going to lead from the front. And you take someone who's a strength athlete, like 500 and 600 deadlifts and squats at 320 pounds. Now I weigh 250. Can you do something completely different? An endurance athlete, right? Completely different.
Yeah.
Could you do that if you just follow my philosophies? I wanted to show that that's possible. The mantra tattooed on my leg on my arm is AMDG, because I went to Jesuit high school. So
okay.
Ad Majorem Dei Gloriam, for God's greater glory. You want to do that. Prove to myself. Once upon a time, I thought I considered the military, and it's a bit of a regret, a little bit, having not joined or served. And then you want to be with an elite group like the SEALs or Special Forces, so I could do something alongside them. Is another reason. Anything patriotic for my country, love that piece. Challenge mentally, like I'm scared.
Yeah.
Right, of getting in the Hudson. No one's ever had any casualties from it, and there's a lot of safeguards. But I still have to qualify. You can't just sign up like a 5K and go. You got to be good enough, right? So in 8 days I have to do the qualification. But so there's a lot of reasons.
Yeah.
But I guess if I had to pick the biggest ones, honor Jesus and show my family and myself that we're capable of so much more, and we're only here for a short time, so we've got to go now. So do that. Don't pick things that are meaningful to you and go get them.
Yeah.
Lead by example. I would say that those are the big drivers, but I even got some negative drivers. Some people said, "Hey, Jim, there's no fucking way you can do that." I'm like, okay, well, we'll see.
Yeah.
So
that'll get in the water.
A little bit,
yeah.
Right? But then I'm giving that some person some sway over me. I'm giving them some power, so I don't want to do that. But
right.
I try to be as intrinsically motivated as I can.
Right.
Also, honestly, you start on this New Jersey. There's all these people doing it. They got these people these military guys parachuting down. You jump off this bridge and you're swimming, I swear to God, to the Statue of Liberty. Like, that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
And
that's
then
really cool, yeah.
It's really cool. You do a bunch of push-ups there and some pull-ups, and then you swim over to Ellis Island where they started immigration. Like, that's neat. And then you finish at Manhattan. Like, that's cool. And then you run kind of trot. You carry American flags, and they got this pomp and circumstance, and you end at the World Trade Center, and they have all these speeches from survivors. Like, I'm like, fuck, man, this is kind of neat.
Yeah.
Right? So there's a lot of reasons why.
That's awesome.
And so I try to remind myself of those when I get stuck a little.
Okay. So you're doing it in August.
On the 16th.
Wow. Okay.
It's a fundraiser. It's a fundraiser.
Yeah.
Raise money for the fallen families and stuff that have soldiers that died.
Okay.
So that's pretty neat.
Yeah, that's awesome. Good for you. May highlight that your motivators I may pull on that a little later as we're talking here.
Yeah.
It's a great example, of something that we might get into. So.
You have a big diagnosis on me already from that story?
No, nothing like that. Just on high performance and what becomes sort of paramount not just in athletics, but any kind of high performance where the stakes are high and fear is pretty loud. And how do we perform well in an environment like that?
I would tell people to make your focus as narrow as possible and control your breathing and focus on that one piece and hang on with everything you got.
Yeah, right. That's good.
I guess.
Yeah. Well, we might jump in there a little bit on my end too. But tell me what you got a podcast.
Yeah.
It's about athlete builder. I did a little my homework. You sent me some good stuff. Have you had a therapist on? Have you had a shrink on before? Am I the first one?
You are the first one, and we're supposed to have a second one scheduled. We just, OKC, the Thunder, they just won the title, and we had their strength coach on a couple weeks ago, so that was pretty neat, right?
That's cool, yeah.
And I always, whenever I have people on, I ask for referrals, because that's how we get to talk to more cool people, right? Because that know things, and I don't only have to know much, I just have to know how to ask a question. And so he mentioned that for their team, they have a therapist on hand who, what's the word he used? It's not combat, but someone that's in a combat environment in the field with special forces that coached the soldiers, Marines, sailors, etc., on how to handle elite levels of pressure and stress.
Mm-hmm.
And then so his task is to coach the basketball players and coaches how to handle elite levels of stress and perform in the NBA finals.
Yeah, that's
so
cool.
We're supposed to have him at some point, but we're not there yet. So
yeah,
we're lucky to have you on.
Yeah, great, thanks. Yeah.
I had a question. I want to run my thinking by you and see what you think. So with student athletes, they have a lot of parents that sign their kids up for travel sports, and travel sports ends up becoming quite an endeavor where the kids could be playing 8, 9, 10 months a year.
Mm-hmm.
Volleyball, basketball, softball, baseball, soccer, you name it. And on the one hand, when parents try to, I hear, I want to be the best parent I ever could to my kid. I want to give them all the opportunities. And what they end up doing sometimes, and I've been guilty of this 100%, I'm definitely not perfect. They want to take away some of the pain and suffering that a kid might encounter as a way of making the kid's life better. And when someone asked me, what do you think about that? I said, well, I do that too, and you don't want kids to suffer. You don't want anybody to suffer. And so I said, but what happens is it ends up becoming a really selfish act on me and the parent, because because when your kid is hurting, you yourself feel pain as well. And when you take the pain away from your kid, then your pain is alleviated. So you do it, so you feel better. Hey, I took this away from him. I burdened it myself with it. That he or she no longer has it. I'm going to hold it. And I said, well, you're just doing it to make yourself feel better. And instead of giving that person the struggle, which then builds them and prepares them to handle more struggle. And
the pain that they're alleviating here is like losing.
Could be that, or it could be, hey, you know what? I'm gonna take you to all these practices and games. You don't need to make your bed. You don't need to clean around the house.
Okay.
Right.
All right,
You don't need to make any food. Right. You don't need to make your lunch. And when you're little, you're not gonna know how to do any of that crap. Or you don't need to go to like a gym and do the hard strength and conditioning, because that's really painful. You don't need to go to bed early because you have to be up early to perform. Right. All the things that make a big impact, they take it away because they don't want them to do it, right? And I'm like, if you let them incrementally struggle on these areas, they build that resilience. So they're going to be uncomfortable, which you probably are too if you empathize or sympathize quite a bit. But if you can turn it off, then you're actually helping them out. And that's usually how I try to pitch to those folks. Make your team uncomfortable so they build more resilience. So I'm looking to hear your thoughts on that approach.
Yeah. I'm not a specialist in parenting or children even. I'm a trauma specialist, so I work primarily with trauma disorders. So, but my sense just out of the gate is we are built to do hard things. Our bodies are fully equipped to manage hard things. And so if we don't learn how to do hard things, no one gets out of that in this world. Even doesn't matter how much money you have or how successful you are or whatever, the hard things will come. And so my sense is to maybe as a parent to be more attentive to how my child is going through something difficult, to make sure I'm present, and obviously if it gets out of hand or unreasonable or something, to step in, but to allow my child or myself to just be in something hard for a minute before I go to alleviating. But I can imagine that being difficult. I mean, of course we don't want to watch anybody go through. If we could alleviate someone's pain or hardship, of course we want to do that. But sometimes you got to figure it out on your own or figure it out with a peer or a friend or something before a parent just jumps right in. But no, I imagine that's pretty situational. So I don't have like a blanket statement here about what I think someone should do. But
Let's say you're a consultant with someone. It could be Chad, Doctor, or someone else.
yeah,
And you recognize a pattern in their leadership. And so a hard thing for them might be changing that pattern that's not as effective.
Yeah.
Or it could be they have to hear something unpleasant. And that's coming from you as the expert, as the subject matter expert.
yeah.
What's your approach then?
Yeah, so I don't think Chad, what's Chad doing that he needs to, let's get into the, I mean, I work with Chad, so I'm not going to give you a real example, but what's
Sure.
a hypothetical, something we need to look at?
So some people won't tell subordinates, here's something critical you can do better. They kind of hem and haw around it.
Yeah.
I had a manager at the bank where he ran the entire branch or the whole team. And the main bankers had all the relationships with the clients.
Mm-hmm.
And the bankers had support staff, whether it was investments or lenders or me, the associate. And the bankers were like the partners in a firm, right? And the way the manager would manage those partners or those bankers that ran the entire relationships was from the bottom up, through me, through the associate. Mm-hmm. Hey, I need you to go tell your banker. I need your banker to do this. I need him to bring this in. I need him to execute on these deals. Can you go do that and make your banker? I'm like, he's above me. He's above in grade. He's above in experience. Above in pay. And I'm like, you're leading him. And so that manager would make or ask me to lead the people above me. Mm-hmm. And that was the role. And so if you're a consultant, that manager, I'd be like, hey, asshole, why don't you do your job instead of making the underlings do it?
Yeah, well, if I did that, I probably wouldn't be on your podcast,
Right?
I wouldn't be very good at what I did, I don't think, if I just called him an asshole. Although, that's happened. But, well, what's the behavior shift? What would be better?
I think behavior shift is that leadership comes from the top down.
Okay. So you would want this guy to be maybe more direct and involved with his direct reports.
Sure.
Okay. Yeah, so I would want to I'd want to see what's going on here with this guy, get him some feedback, and create a container, an environment where he can hear that, right? That's hard. To create a space where someone can actually hear and receive feedback from their direct reports, peers, and other folks.
Sure.
And then the question is, what do we do with that information? And that's where I need to get into the weeds with somebody. Like, well, when you consider providing feedback to somebody, what happens in your body? Right? That's like a question for this hypothetical person.
Well, even for me, if I have to give feedback to people, I could feel elevated heart rate. I could feel heat in my head. So those are a couple things I could feel if I...
Yeah, so elevated heart rate informs us that something about this is bothering you.
Sure.
Like your body is registering this as threat or scary or just uncomfortable. And so it's moving, your elevated heart rate is moving more blood through your body on purpose. saying this could potentially get ugly, and so I'm going to be prepared to fight or flight, certainly. And so it's moving the blood. Probably your breathing changes. You're going to oxygenate that blood more rapidly, and you're going to get ready to roll. And so that's why you may come in and say, listen, asshole, this is what's going on. Because your body's told you, if I'm going in the room with this guy, I better fight him. Does that make sense?
Sure. I could tell you that's my normal gut reaction. So like everyone, athletes I coach or coaches I work with, I always have the now what question coming out all the time. So for me, if that's how I normally do things, come at people aggressively, directly, my question to myself would be, well, now what is your process for handling that?
Mm-hmm.
And so if you have no process, then now you're just blindly going through the same motions again, repeating patterns. And I was like, so when I talk to my coaches and athletes, I'm like, if you're having success, full send, keep going. If you're getting your ass beat and things aren't going so well, you probably need to reassess and then adjust your pattern. So for me, before I have a hard conversation, I'll go through it, all the different scenarios a day prior. I'll run it by someone else or my wife. I'll have a bunch of different contingencies. I'll have some assumptions, and then where those decision trees go based on responses to those things. So I'll prepare in advance. But by the time I actually come to the meeting, I've calmed down, I've relaxed. I don't try to have anything significant or material happen immediately. I try to wait. That way I go through a whole bunch of iterations, and then I come in prepared, and then I'll specifically start talking slower, calming voice. I call it my Chris Voss's late night FM DJ voice.
Okay.
Right? And so I'm just trying to create an environment where we can have some conversations where I'm not saying, hey, you're being a pussy, you're being an asshole here, buddy, let's get going.
Yeah, I mean, there's this whole storage center in our brain. Its primary job in the limbic region is to one part to store the past, store things that were unpleasant in the past, whether they're traumatic or they were scary or I got hurt or something, and it just keeps that data. It's its main event. The other is to access that data. It's our amygdala in the limbic region operates like a smoke detector, constantly sort of receiving sensory data through another part of the brain and judging, hey, is this smoke or not?
Gotcha.
Does that make sense? So if I get even the feeling that I'm going to confront someone or we're going to have a hard conversation or something, just knowing that or feeling that that's going to happen, my brain, that smoke detector says, hey, I got something's up here. And so let me go to my file here on what I know about hard conversations. And it pulls that file out and it says, yeah, we got some stuff. This could be bad. So how did we deal with that got us through it safely?
Gotcha.
And it says, well, we got really mad. We raised our voice and we made sure that we were the strongest person in the room. And that got us through when I was 10 years old.
Mm-hmm.
And so let's do that now. That'll help. And then we do that and we get out of the room and it worked. We didn't get hurt. And so our body, part of our body considers that a victory. But then the rest of our brain comes online. Oh, it's not over offline totally, but it comes back into awareness sort of. And the grown man sitting here says, what the hell why did I do that?
Mm-hmm.
Right? You come back into yourself sort of because you're safe now. So we do a lot of that work. I do a lot of that work with leaders, is saying, what are those parts of you? What's this part that thinks it needs to come in hot, domineering, controlling, take over? And do you need that anymore as much as maybe you needed it at another time in your life? And how do we work with that? How do we train that up so you don't need it so often?
So apply that to our coaches, basketball, football, tennis, whatever, and they're coming to these kids that are in college or high school, and they're telling them what to do, and they're not doing it, and they tell them again, and then frustration comes in. Or some coaches just lead by, might equals right,
Mm-hmm.
and they're real dominant.
I had those for sure.
Right? So apply that to, that scenario, because you're trying to reach these kids, right? And even they say the brain doesn't develop until 25, so these 20, 22-year-olds are still kids in some ways, right?
Yeah. That 25 stat is particularly true for males, less so for females. But yeah, what two core motivators for human behavior? What makes us do something, right?
Pain and pleasure.
Yeah, so fear and love are what I say.
Yep.
So if I need someone to do something, if I scare the hell out of them, they'll likely do it for a period of time.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so and we've coached. I mean, certainly I had coaches who counted on that, and so that's one way to get people to do something, is to scare them. Right? When we get out there, we're going to kill them. We're going to kill the other players. Like, we're going to kill the other team.
Yep.
Right? We're going to just go for it. They're a threat, and we have to beat them. So that activates our whole body, our whole system, if we believe it. And the other is love. And I don't mean that like mushy-gushy. I mean our capacity to love each other, love sports, love things, find deep meaning in them, connect them to our center of our being, what makes us tick.
Mm-hmm.
That is also a human motivator, and it's one that's, I think, far more sustainable. And it also activates more of our prefrontal cortex, which helps us be more focused, higher performance, more executive function, less mistakes. So it's about what, if you want kids to act, if you got kids not coming to practice, that's one thing. But if they aren't winning games, I might choose to make them fall in love with basketball and not just scare them into running faster.
Sure.
Right.
I think obviously earlier on, the stakes and pressures are different.
Oh, yeah.
And you get into high school, the high school coach wants to win state title or sectional title or whatever. We have a lot of people that are at the college level, so that head coach is offered a big money contract, and if they're at a small school, they're trying to go into a medium-sized school, or a medium-sized school, they're probably going to try to go into a large school. Everyone on the staff is trying to win and get paid, and then also move up or move out. The players are trying to really get paid now in college because they can transfer schools and get paid money. So they're up and out, or move down and get more playing time and out. Or if you perform well, then you get to play. If you don't perform well and make mistakes, then you don't get to play. So tons of kids are like of the belief that, hey, one mistake is the short leash that I'm on. It's all I have. So most of the reps and practices you're trying to work your way up the depth chart are all reps in fear. I haven't talked to any of these kids who are like, man, I'm just playing because I love the game.
Yeah,
They're not. It's all fear. It's all fear. Hey, I need to perform, or I'm not going to play, or I need to perform so I can play and move on to a different school, perform and make more money, or have more fame and accolades, or get more guys or girls to love me, or go out with me, or sleep with me. Any of those things. So it's, for the most part, it's all external and fear driven, and so the coaches are managing that way. And you told me the most effective and optimal way to manage people is not with the stick, but more with the carrot.
Well, it depends on what you. There's two core ways to motivate people: fear and love.
Yeah, right.
I mean, we do a lot out of fear, so I don't know if one is more effective than the other. I think one is more sustainable than the other. That's for sure. Our bodies are not built to be constantly in fear.
Right.
They tap out. They don't.
I would agree with that wholeheartedly. My example is back to that swim.
Exactly. That's exactly where my head's going.
Like, there's a lot of reasons why I want to do it, and that's even when the swim's over with. I'm still going to want to fulfill those self-inflicted positive pressures, like leading from the front. But right now, the biggest motivator is drowning in the river. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't want to be in the point where I'm fearing for my life. I'm doing events that are fearful like that every 6 months or every year.
Yeah.
Like it'll be 14 months and 200 swim days to prepare for this, and the fear of like, man, you know what? I had to tap out, or I wasn't good enough. The people said you couldn't do it. You look weaker. There's that piece. I don't care about that nearly as much as drowning and leaving my wife and kids. But that's the biggest motivator right now. But I
Mm-hmm.
don't want to be in that pressure cooker for years. So
Mm-hmm.
long term, I definitely don't want that. But in the short term, it's like, okay, I'll ride for a while,
Yeah.
but I need to get out. And I
Right.
think athletes do the same thing. They'll push in college or the NFL or college and pros, for a while. But it's a
It's a
pressure
grind.
cooker.
Yeah.
It's a grind,
I
right?
don't know how they would. So, yeah, I mean, you can get a lot done in that fear space for sure. But my guess is it'd be interesting to talk to like Olympic athletes, Olympic level athletes, and see what they would say about this topic.
Mm-hmm.
Because my sense is you can't get out of the fear. Like when you're in a high pressure, lots of money. You've left, high school sports. You're not, and you're now in a situation where there's a lot on the table. There's a lot on the line. I think you have to be able to look fear in the face. Like I'm able to say, like, yeah, there are elements of this. If I don't do well in this game, I lose my scholarship, I lose my salary. Less people are gonna want to hang out with me or whatever. However you put that, I don't remember. But like, there's a lot going on. Or if I lose this game and I'm the coach, this is one too many, and I may be asked to leave.
Sure. Like if Chad Dockery's school teams don't win
Yeah.
year after year after year, I can't imagine he's going to be the AD there.
Right.
Like they have a history of winning. Like my high school, St. Ignatius in Cleveland, like they averaged 3 or 4 titles a year for 25 plus years. Shit.
Yeah.
Right? That's the big school titles. So if you don't win, then you move on. So there's that pressure.
Yes.
Yes.
So how do I manage that internally? Recognize it. Yeah, there's fear. This is scary.
Mm-hmm.
But also access other parts of my body, those intrinsic motivators, as you said. Like, how do I access those in the midst of feeling this fear?
Yeah.
And I haven't even gotten on the field yet. Like, we haven't even started playing.
What I tell my athletes is have some moments in practice, before practice, after practice, before, during, and after games, where you stop for a moment and look around and say thank you for getting me here today.
Yeah.
Whether you're in the God or not, your teammates, but like so, there's a moment I'll get in that water and I'll stop and I'll look at the Statue of Liberty and I'm like, oh man, this is fucking cool.
Yeah.
Hey,
So
and
that's
so
exactly.
if I have some gratitude, then a lot of my anger and angst goes down.
Yes. And I can tell you why that happens, but I don't know if that's of interest, but like, that's the ball game. It's like, can I keep that prefrontal cortex activated while I'm in something that is very scary? That requires a different type of mental strength and practice. Those neural pathways you can't just do that one time and you've got a good sort of methodology there. You have to develop the neural pathway to be in a scary thing and be able to sort of stay fully online.
So you have a process for that.
Well, there's all kinds of things you can do, but I can tell you why taking a look around, engaging your thinking and gratitude will slow your breathing down and bring you back to maybe higher focus, greater alertness. Right? There's neurobiology about why that happens.
And when you do that, like tense muscles are shitty muscles. Like they're tight, they're slow, they're not powerful. When you're loose and relaxed, your swing is faster.
Yeah, well, and you're
Right.
you're less impulsive,
Mm-hmm.
more and sort of planned, methodical, right? Impulse control happens in the dorsal prefrontal cortex. And so if that is going on, I'm pumping less oxygen and blood to my dorsal prefrontal cortex. Likely, I'm going to make more impulsive mistakes on the field. And so
Gotcha.
that's a kid. If I have a kid out there who is making mistake after like little things, even, I know that person is having a hard time feeling safe right now on the field for some reason. And so I maybe get them off for a play and get them cooled off. Take a look around, do your gratitude thing, take a breath, get a water, and then I need your prefrontal cortex back online, is how we might say that.
Gotcha. Well, I was going to give you an example of what my approach is with this one softball girl who I love at the gym. She's super nice and hardworking, but I want to run this story by you.
Yeah.
So, 86 Mets, they win the title over the Red Sox.
All right.
The beginning of the offseason is about to start. Regular season ended. And Boston is heavily favored and thought they were going to do well. And they did do well. They made it to the series. And Bill Buckner was the first baseman, and he's interviewed, and he said, he's asked, hey, what do you think about the series? Very general ESPN question, right? What's your thoughts on the series and playoffs? And he goes, well, obviously the dream is to win the series, win the whole thing, go home with all the accolades. He goes, the nightmare, it's late in the series and a ground ball is hit towards me at first base. I botch it, and it costs us the game in the series. That's what he said.
Mm-hmm.
You can look it up. It's on recorded film. Fast forward Game 6, Mookie Wilson, right? You know where I'm going.
Yep.
Ground ball first base goes through his legs.
Yeah.
Mets take Game 6, and then the Red Sox come in flat in Game 7 and dejected, and they lose.
Yeah.
And it's over.
That's mindset right there.
Right?
Yeah.
It's already in his head.
Yeah.
The thought is already there.
But not just a little. There's a full description, full imagery there of what would happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It gets manifested.
Yeah, there's a great power in our own intention and of what will happen. And I know that can get kind of woo-woo, but there's some real you're talking about that real specifically. Like, he created that. That did not happen yet. And
Right.
it happened just how he said it. That happens all the time to people.
If I knew that was my fear and the ball's coming at me, I would almost lay down in front of the ball. Right? I would so overcompensate.
Yeah.
Right? And so this girl, she was struggling in school ball and in softball with hitting. And before that, in the travel league, early in the first part of the year, she's hitting dingers and hitting for high average. She's killing it, right? School ball rolls around and doesn't do well in the first couple games, and then every time she went to the plate, just some snowballed and ended up having just a bad season. Hit around 200 or 210. And I didn't hear about this. I didn't see her during school season. She only comes to me in the off season. And part of what we do at the gym is not just lifting. One of the main intangibles is that we work on nutrition, recovery, mindset, all these other things. And I said, what is your thought when you go to the plate? She says, I'm so worried about making a mistake. It's all I think about.
Yeah, right.
And I said, well, I could be right or wrong here, but usually the brain just hears the verb. And so if I tell a kid who's going to the plate, don't strike out, they're just going to hear strike out. Next thing you know, they're striking out, right? So I know there's situational awareness. You're looking at the pitch count, or is there anybody on base, or how many outs there are. So there's some thinking that goes on. But let's come up with a mantra where it's just positive action verbs. It has to be very short. And we went back and forth and came up with see ball, drive ball. See ball, drive ball. So when the ball leaves the pitcher's hand, if it's a good pitch, he's going to try to drive it somewhere. See ball, drive ball. Right? And so fast forward, she's been playing all summer. And I saw her again and said, what I do is I have this book I wrote, but there's a journal, calendar, habit tracker, planner that goes along with it. And what we would try to do is track our habits so we can evolve them and improve them. So we're like, hey, let's track how many times we're thinking see ball, drive ball as we're going to the game, going to practice, at the plate, etc. Like, all you should be thinking is see ball, drive ball, unless the coach says, take a bunt or whatever, intentional walk, but see ball, drive. I go, how's that working? Because we want the feedback loop.
Yeah.
And she goes, I'm hitting 440.
Okay.
And I go, have you done more practices? Have you done more hitting lessons? She goes, no, same amount. And you've been in the gym more, but that's going to give you some more power and speed, but not going to really hit for average. She goes, no, it's just that I'm not afraid at the plate anymore. Mm-hmm. I have an approach. And I'm no psychologist or shrink or master's in that. My master's was in finance.
Mm-hmm. Well, also important.
What's your thought, like as I'm advising these athletes, on coming up with a mantra that they can focus on that eliminates some noise as they're getting ready to play and execute? What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think, well, it's not just eliminating noise, it's giving your body the right noise, right? So, like, what do I need to tell myself that I can actually believe that matters? The person has to believe it. That is going to help me show up at the plate and not be only focused on my fear and missing, screwing up, getting hit or something, you know?
Sure.
What can I actually say right now that is going to cool me off and sort of activate that other part of my neurochemistry, you know? Like, what do I need to actually say right now internally? What's my self-talk?
Right.
And can I, like you say, mindset, how can I keep my mindset on that?
So what I tell people is it's a lot easier for me to practice this swim in 3 and 4 feet of water because I'm 6'2", right? So we're going to practice where the stress is very, very low.
Yeah.
And then we're going to add stresses, right? Distance, less breathing. When I'm swimming in this lake where you can't see, like my wife is instructed to cause turbulence.
Yeah, so...
You know, so that there's waves,
Yeah.
or you get hit by people when you're in a triathlon, you know, so there's extra obstacles, and how do you handle it? So as you progress and you get better, you add incrementally some stressor, just like you would in your back squat. You go from squatting 135 to squatting 140, you add 5 more pounds, right? You add some more stressor, and then see how you handle it, get that feedback loop, and then adjust and move and keep moving forward.
Yeah. What about the water? Not being able to see in the water is tripping you up.
Well, one is I've only done it once,
Okay.
right? And so I'm like, I just need some more reps. And so I did it once, couldn't see. I'm getting hit with debris because there was stuff in the water, and I get hit with people. And I was like, oh my God, I can't see. I'm not gonna be able. I'm not gonna be able to get to the end. I'm not gonna be able to make it. I'm gonna drown. You know, that was the thought that day.
Yeah.
That was the thought that day. And so I recognize some of those are irrational, but who fucking cares? We're going to fix it regardless if it's rational or irrational. So I know a process is get more reps and be uncomfortable. So I go in this other guy's lake, like, hey, there's no other people. My wife's right next to me. There's a life jacket right there, right? So how can I just swim, do 5 strokes, and then look and see where I'm going? How can I do that? Can I get to 10 strokes? Can I do 1 length? And so I just needed some reps, and so I've had 4 more since, and I started off with swimming 1 length. Now I'm swimming 10 lengths at a time without stopping. So it just takes a little bit of practice in that situation before I start building some comfort. And so for me, it has built quickly, thank goodness, because I got a month left.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, when the body is freaking out like that, it'll send you any kind of thought to get you out of the situation.
Well,
So-
I need to have what I tell myself and my athletes, and you work on this beforehand, is what is your default? What is your minimum standard you can do to be successful? So I knew even on game day, everything's falling apart. I know I could turn over and swim on my back for hours,
Okay.
and not sink at all, right? So I know that to be true. So if you have a minimum, I could default to. So even on the first time when I was in that triathlon, like I swam half of it on my back because I was freaking out. I'm like, well, I know I can do this. And if I know I can do this, I know that I can get my heart rate to come down by breathing in through my nose and out through my mouth and holding it, you know, and I know I can quasi do some Lamaze here on myself to get myself to calm down. So if I do those 2 things, I know I could change how I'm feeling. And once I do that, then I can get back in the fight and get back at it. And you kind of incrementally do that over and over again until it's like everything goes away.
Yeah. That's the ball game, just that mindful awareness. Like, oh yeah, okay, fear's driving right now. And I'm aware now. I see it now. But sometimes if you don't see it, you don't know. You're just, fear's driving the bus and you're
gone.
Yeah, that's it.
It's over. Not till later. So
that mindful awareness, coaching kids on that, teaching them how to become more just aware of what's going on in their own sort of self-talk.
Yep.
Saying, okay, that's the same voice you had at the plate yesterday too. You remember that? So
Yeah.
what we got to figure out what to say to that voice so that it knows that you're safe right now. And you're just playing baseball or softball or whatever. Like, you're going to be fine. Even if we're at practice, you miss, that's part of what we're doing here is figuring out how to get, like, so what can we say to this voice that's scared so that it cools off? Or what can you do? You know, breathing or whatever.
Other things I'll tell people is if you're thinking about getting started, you need to start your weight loss journey, or you're thinking about you want to play in college, so you're going to make this run, effort-wise. You ask yourself, your whys. Why is this important to you? Blah blah blah, and hopefully those things kind of push you some. As I'm approaching the 16th with the swim, or these kids are approaching game day, or they're nervous, I then ask them the opposite question. All right, so you're nervous about these moments and all. Why is what you're about to do absolutely useless and no big deal at all?
Yeah.
Why doesn't it matter at all? Like, if you get cut from the team, like if I get DQ'd next Tuesday, and I go, why does it not matter? And then so if people have any kind of faith, I'm like, well, at the end of the day, you're still going to be enough for God and Jesus.
Yeah.
And hopefully you're enough for your parents and your teammates and your coaches. But in some of those areas, you're not going to be enough, and that's okay because those people don't matter, right? They do matter some, but not like you and your relationship with God, or those that are important to you. Like myself, in the eyes of my wife and kids, that are important to me, my family. Maybe some of my friends, maybe a couple, but overall, no. So like failure, like why is that not a big deal? And I'll say, well, even if you're playing lights out and you're hitting 350 in baseball, you're still missing 2 out of every 3, bro.
Yeah.
Right? So you have to give them this kind of perspective where it's not a big deal, and so they can feel safe.
Yeah, so you can improve it. Right.
Yeah.
But if it's never an option, then I'm just scared the whole time.
Not sustainable.
Yeah, not gonna. I mean, if you're in a pinch, I can't get you can scare people into it, but my bigger thing is how do I sustainably create people who can show up high perform. So I've already said all of that, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah. That's kind of the trick, right?
I think so, but I'm not. I'm good with people. I'm not a coach. I don't know what it's like to be on the, I'd be interested in well, you're a coach. What do you think?
What do you think? I'm not sure what you're actually asking at this point.
Like this choice between fear and love in terms of human motivators.
Use both.
Yeah, both are going to be in there. So
use the fear in the short term and the connectivity and the love in the long term.
Yeah, love is the big picture, I think. And fear gets you through the maybe small stuff sometimes.
Now you're managing people, so those coaches that are on the team, they have a staff of 10 for 100 football players, or let's say you're the captains on the team. Like Ohio State and Alabama, those big organizations will bring on psychologists to do leadership things with those teammates.
Yep.
And whether it's the NCOs in the military, or the mid-level managers in a firm, or at Chad and the athletic director and the coaches at a high school, it's still the same skills. Yeah,
I mean, that's Simon Sinek gets into a lot of this in terms of I believe the certainly the Marine Corps he talks about, but also I think it's the Air Force and what motivates people, soldiers. And so I'm recalling while I'm talking, so I'm slipping over my words a little bit. But he talks about this great sense of performance. Like performance is critical, but it's also matched by some level of trust. Like performance and trust are at the same, are equally important, right? And so when they talk to people he tells these beautiful stories. If you haven't checked out Simon Sinek, I highly recommend it. But he talks about this deep, sincere sense of love of each other. And that becomes paramount to their experience while they're in a situation that is highly, highly dangerous, critical. That if someone cannot be a lover of their brother or their sister, they do not get to go.
Yeah.
It is paramount that the person be engaged with a sense of deep care, genuine care for the person next to them.
Well, here's why.
You can't go in to the thing that is going to literally scare the hell out of you unless you can first do that.
So at the highest level, you must have that highest level of commitment and emotional and mental connection. And my thought is this, like, so, you have your kids or someone that's important to you, maybe it's your wife or whatever, where you would sacrifice yourself for that person.
Yeah.
And when you go through high level training, whether it's boot camp or special forces, or you go through the NFL combine and you're going through 2 days or 3 days in NFL camp, so the idea of letting down your kid is so interwoven in your identity that it's so much pain that you would never, right? If you love that person quite a bit, because you feel it as yourself, and you're letting that person down, and you're letting that person lose, get killed, whatever, experience all this pain. So you let them down. It's on you. You feel guilty and irresponsible. And so when you have that level of teammate, whether it's on the football field or in the Marine Corps, like, you will sacrifice for your unit. If you listen to Aaron Sorkin's A Few Good Men, and they talk about the Marine Corps and what their code was, it was unit, corps, God, country. Unit was first, and then the entire Marine Corps. You will sacrifice everything for your unit. So the person next to you and the overall team, the Marine Corps or the football team, they want that to be the deal because there's an objective. Take that hill, kill the enemy, win the title. And so to reach that hard goal, you want that level of commitment to each other, and you can't get that hard goal without it. And that's why they want you to love your teammate that much.
Yes, yeah. But that's also what we're talking about with this activation. Like, there's some bigger picture. I'm motivated not just by killing the enemy.
Mm-hmm.
I'm also motivated by a deep, sincere sense of care for other people.
Yeah, the people
right?
in your unit.
Right. So it feels kind of like a paradox.
Yeah.
Like, what we're about to go do is
horrible.
Wild. Yeah. But there's also this piece of me that is actively engaging.
Because I'm saving my buddy's life.
Right. So there's this.
Getting home safely, right?
Right. So we're not just focused on what's bad or scary.
Right.
We're also focused on that mindset piece.
For sure.
So if they can do that, surely a high school football player can.
Right.
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 Like, that's where I say love of the game if I'm going through, the NFL, like, 2-a-days or, whatever, it would be really helpful if I really liked football.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, if I don't, all that does is suck. Like,
yeah.
So.
That's why I tell we have 6 core values, and one has to be enjoyment.
Yeah.
Because if you don't like it at all, my wife keeps asking me, "Do you like swimming?" I go, "I like some parts of it. I like that. I have better capacity. My joints feel better."
Yeah.
I go, "Not some parts I don't like. It's boring."
Right.
You stare at a black line for an hour and a half, 2 hours. Like,
yeah, sure.
Fuck, man, that's boring.
Yeah.
So parts I don't like, but so I do find some levels of joy. I find the idea that I'm healthier cardiovascular wise,
sure,
which then enables me to do more things and live longer and higher quality of life.
Yeah. Beautiful.
And then great. So when I talk to these kids, like, "Hey, I like scoring touchdowns," or "I like smacking someone." All right, cool, let's do that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you have some, not just gratitude, I'm happy to be here, but an actual thing that you like, there's no way to decrease your stress and then improve your performance.
Yeah. There's a lot on, there's a book and a lot of content out there on the playing not to lose mindset versus playing to win mindset. Sure. And that's coming to mind for me as you're saying that. I grew up, my dad played college football, played for University of Toledo, and then Xavier, when Xavier had a team.
Right.
So he has a shirt that says Xavier football, undefeated since 1973, and
Bang.
He played right around that time. So, but all his buddies played college ball too, like one played at Illinois, another played at Northwestern, and so I grew up in this environment. I mean, these men love football. It's part of their whole identity. They love this game.
Yes.
And there's no field is too small, like they'll go to any thing. They just love football.
Yep.
And I tried, and I don't have that.
Sure.
But I have it for other things. But you can just see, like, these guys took it as far as they could, playing, and some of them refed and stuff like that as adults, But they just adore it. They adore the sport of it. They love it.
Got to have that because there's a lot of things that suck about everything. Even the things that you love, there's things that suck. Like, I love all my kids and my wife, but there's something that sucks about all of them in our relationship at some point, right? And they would say that
we're imperfect, yeah.
For course. And same thing with their sport. So you got to find some parts that you actually, love. That way you can keep going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
I had another question for you. You said one thing with dealing with teammates and coaches and leaders,
Yeah.
helps them do well, is that understanding and integrating my own inner landscape with deep honesty.
Yeah.
It is only because of this that I am able to show up for others with greater empathy, understanding, and potential of healing. Deep honesty. And I was like, well, is that different than regular honesty?
No,
Or
it's just
when-
emphasizing it.
When people say like unique or very unique, I'm like, hold on, man. Unique means that you don't
Yeah,
see it
yeah.
again.
No, I
So
put it on there on purpose.
on purpose.
Yeah.
So emphasizing. So I find that for myself, and then again with my athletes, that oftentimes I or they will lie to ourselves about our abilities or shortcomings or something like that, whether to save face or fear of abandonment, etc. But if I can at least first be honest with myself, then I got a shot at being honest with everybody else. If I can't be honest with myself, then whatever comes out of my mouth is going to be a lie because it's starting from a lie to begin with. So when I talk to people about their performance, I'm like, I try to take the person out of it and keep it objective with numbers. Here's your speed, here's your power, here's how much you can lift. Your wins and losses are this, here's your average. Like, and I say this is just data. It's like the accounting in my books for my profit and loss.
And why do you do that?
We're looking for data so we know what to adjust.
Okay. So if you have to give someone feedback about their performance, you stick to data.
Not always.
Okay.
But if I can, it gives some context.
Okay.
Sometimes I can't. I have to qualify and say, hey, your effort seems a little low today.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
Now it's more of a feeling. I can't say, but I could quantify and say, hey, you're not smiling quite a bit. You're not pumping each other up. You're not as vocal. You're doing these things less, less times. But I could go to athletes and say, hey, man, you're just not bringing it today. What's going on?
Mm-hmm.
And so where are we at? Lay down, and I usually get things like, I'm fine. So then I go, all right, cool. On a scale of 1 to 10, where are you at, in terms of being fine? Like in terms of like how much pain are you in from doing these exercises or what you're doing? They'll give me a number, okay? Or where are you at? Like what is not fine? You say you're doing fine overall, but something you're never perfect. So what's not fine? So that can start uncovering an issue. But then I'll trial and error. Hey, did you eat today? Did you get enough sleep? What time did you go to bed?
Yeah.
What time did you get up? Your parents screaming at you. You got problems with your girlfriend or boyfriend.
Yeah, right. Okay. Yeah, I think what I was referring to in there is the more I come to know my own inner landscape, my own self, what's going on sort of beneath the surface, the more I come to know that and integrate that wholly, like to say, I have all these parts of me, memories and experiences and things I don't want to look at. Like, I don't want to talk about that. The more I'm able to get in touch with that and integrate it into one whole person, the more likely I am to show up in other people's lives more whole, more understanding, more empathetic. That I'm able to see this kid who's having a rough practice or whatever and get what that, like, I know what it's like to have an off day. I know, and I'm able to ask those questions like you just listed. Something going on at home, like Like I'm able to think more in those terms than just grill them on trying harder or something.
Yeah. My thought is this, and I don't know if it's true, so you tell me what you think. When we started off our conversation, I mentioned, hey, you're from the great state of Ohio, and you're like, oh, you're from Ohio? I said, yeah, Cleveland. And you're like, go Bucks. So you find, and people, it's super easy, one of the easiest ways to develop any kind of connection is geographical proximity. Hey, we're from somewhere kind of the same place. Maybe we're kind of the same kind of person. And in your scenario, similarly, the athlete wants to know, hey, this person has been in a similar situation. This person gets me.
Yeah.
This person understands me. Okay, that person understands me. They know how this feeling is. I can open up and share and discuss what's going on because he's been there. So if you can do that, then there's some trust that's built, and then you can start working on some challenges and issues.
Yeah, we do this empathy activity in some of the workshops I do, and it's very simple. All we would say is something I see in you, Jim, that I also see in myself is X. And you make it something sincere and sort of open. I wouldn't want to say like, hey, Jim, something I see in you that I also see in me is you can be a real dickhead or something, Like you wouldn't want to go that route.
That would be true, though.
Well, I can be too, yeah. So, and we might bond on that, right? But like you'd say, like something I see in you that I also see in me is someone who really cares about people, right? And you and I are now connecting.
Yeah. I even mentioned that earlier when I said, some of these parents alleviate the challenges for their kids because they're being a little selfish and not having them do that. And I also point out, I have done that.
Yeah, sure.
100%. So then it creates a safer place for me to point this out to that person because, like, hey, I'm guilty of it too, And if I sit there and tell my kids, man, don't go out and drink 25 beers on your 21st birthday, they're like, what? I said, well, I've done that, so, don't do that, so they get it. Like, don't go out because you could die. And they're like, oh, if you've done it, then there's some validity or credibility, and that person kind of gets me.
Yeah.
So I think when coaches do that with their athletes, it's like, hey, man, I've been in this situation before. I've been 4th and 1 before. I've been there, had a hit the winning shot, or have a hit when it really counted. I've been there. I know what that's like. Here's
who's going to perform better? The kid who hears that or the kid who hears, you better fucking make it?
Yeah.
Period. Now, right. I don't know the answer to that. I'm not a coach, but you tell me, like, what works better?
It's the same skill whether you're coaching or not coaching in sports or not. It's you want that person to play loose, so they have to calm down. If you give them things you start focusing on the negatives or the challenges, they tighten up, they play tighter, and then they make a mistake. We just talked about Bill Buckner. You put in those added stress makes it harder for the people. You said they're the part of the frontal cortex is all jacked up. Then we don't want that. So no. Yeah, whether you're trying to make the big sale or win the big case, or you got brain surgery on someone, right? Or you're trying to get this team to perform well, it's the same deal.
Yeah.
Right? Coaching people.
Same neurochemistry for sure. Same brain.
Same brain.
Yeah.
So we're going to do the same things then.
Yeah. Do what works for you, though.
Yeah.
Some people blast AC/DC, and that somehow cools them off. Other people need it to be way more chill.
Yeah.
So it's about what works for you.
So you just keep asking, what is your process here for that? Oh, you just said, here's my process.
Let's drill in.
Blast AC/DC. So I'm always asking, well, now what? Now what? Which means, what is our process in this environment? Like I listened to Alex Hormozy on this. He was talking about learning, and someone says, "Hey, I need to work on my patience." It's not that you're not patient. You don't have a process to do things when it's time to be patient. So if you you love Christmas, but it only comes once a year. You don't sit around for 365 days. sweating or getting anxious or excited about Christmas because it's coming for a year. So you find something else to do, have a life, have a job, get up, go work out, eat food, go to sleep over the next 12 months.
Yeah.
Or if I'm waiting in line at the car dealer and they're changing my oil and it's taking a while, well, if I brought work to do or if I brought a book, then I could sit there,
Yeah.
I could, so it simply is you don't have a process for this item, there's this activity, this task yet.
Yeah.
And so I think for us, it's constantly hunting and developing and evolving processes for our athletes or team or leaders.
Most high school and college students don't have this. Like, you get to be part of them learning this stuff about themselves, right? They aren't equipped with this knowledge yet, most of them.
Yeah.
So like that's part of our job in this field is to do that. But I'm having this story come in. Did you guys have a rowing team where you went to high school?
They do now. They win everything.
Yeah, that's how I know the school. Actually, I rowed in high school.
My daughter's trying out for Alabama's team. I spoke at the crew team. I liked the Boys in the Boat movie. And,
yeah. Okay.
The book, The Last Amateurs.
I don't know that one.
It's they follow the history. Not the history. They follow 1 year of training for Cambridge versus Oxford. And if you're into rowing, that's like the highest level.
Yeah.
It's as big as the Olympics.
Yeah.
Those two schools over in England competing, and so it follows those schools for 1 year.
Okay.
And it's called The Last Amateurs, and I read that. It was pretty sweet.
That's cool. Yeah. Well, I rowed crew. I was a 7-seat in an 8-man boat, and rowed for like a year and a half, and then it was varsity time, so it's like. And I would have rowed 7-seat in the varsity boat. And our coaches came to me and said, listen, you can row 7-seat varsity, you've earned it, but we need a captain for the novice team. And none of these kids are showing, there's a bunch of freshmen coming in. They're going to be out of shape. They're not going to know anything about crew. And we'd like you to do it. We'd like you to be you have to decide between varsity boat, get the jacket, whole thing. Or do you or will you captain the novice team and lead them and help them be, good rowers and form a team actually, So I was like, oh man, that sucks. Like, I think I'll go varsity, like that feels more important to you then. And my one coach said to me, you're not going to be a rower. Like, this isn't going to be, you're okay, but you're not going to row in college. Like, this isn't going to be your sport, but you are a leader. And I think this would be really good for you in further developing your leadership skills. Like, I know whatever you're going to do in your life, you're going to be a good leader. And I was like, done. I'll do it.
Really?
Yeah. I said, it's something about how they spoke like to my heart. They were honest. They told me something hard. You're not going to be a rower, which I sort of knew, at some level, but they said, this isn't going to be like your life. But I do think what you do with your life, those skills are going to transfer to what you can do for this novice team. And I had the time of my life that last season. It was hard and messy, but we had a lot of fun. And I don't know. It was just really, really, I'll never regret it. I'm so glad it happened that way.
So, I'm putting myself in your situation. I'm trying to think with my personality. And then trying to identify, hey, in the long term, you can utilize this moment and this whole season of experience, and you can apply it later. Like, learning how to play golf in high school is pretty cool because you can do that in college and you can do it in the business world, and there's a lot of application.
Yeah.
No one's really playing a lot of full pad football in their 20s and 30s. They're going to walk around really banged up and broken, right?
Yeah.
But part of me would be like, so like you said, if someone came to me and you're not going to be rowing in college, and I'd be like, fuck off, maybe. Or maybe we can win now, right? So a big part of me would be like that. I also get, hey, because my whole shtick is making an impact with these people, I could feel like, hey, I want to make an impact and help out, and I want to help, right? So I would be kind of torn.
Yeah.
I think.
I mean, I wrestled with it. until
Yeah.
they had that conversation. So
I probably would have been more selfish than my, hey, I'm doing this for me. See you later.
yeah, well, that's all right. I was 17 years old, like
Yeah.
I did a lot of other selfish, stupid stuff then. So
Well, good. Good for you.
yeah. How's this going? Anything else you want to cover?
Not really. When you're working out, like, what do you listen to?
I got a little playlist. I need something to keep my heartbeat going.
Yep.
Keep me amped up. So I got AC/DC. I didn't mention that randomly. I like that kind of, sort of like dad rock. You know,
Yeah.
that gets me going, keeps me.
Do you have a bucket list adventure for you and your wife to go on that you haven't done yet?
I wouldn't say that. She's really, really. She's more the wild one. The event. So we go like whitewater rafting every summer. We love doing that.
West Virginia?
Yes, yeah, New River, yeah.
I've been there.
Yeah, it's awesome. We have a great time. If you asked her, she'd give you the list of all the wild adventures we're going to go on. But we are going to Europe for like 3 weeks next summer. It's going to be a big trip. So
Wow.
yeah, we're looking forward to that.
Awesome. Do you have a favorite sport movie?
Yeah, I said Happy Gilmore or Hoosiers. So Happy Gilmore is a little silly because I grew up, my dad, I took golf lessons every summer. It was like non-negotiable. And I'm grateful for it now, but at the time it just felt like, man, it's summer. I'm not in school. Like I got to get up early and go do these golf lessons. But Happy Gilmore. Yeah, right. Exactly. But when Happy Gilmore came out, it was the first time someone was sort of teasing around with golf, and it was good for me because I hadn't seen Caddyshack. I was too young for that.
And then have you seen Tin Cup?
Yeah, yes, I love that movie.
That's a great one.
Yeah,
and Happy Gilmore's got a sequel coming out now.
I saw that. Yeah, I'm ready. I'll be on that. And Hoosiers is just like a classic, man. Gene Hackman. Yeah. I love that movie.
Oh yeah. Yeah, there's so many good ones, and there's ones that are like inspirational. But I like the comedies too. Being from Cleveland, I love Major League.
Oh yeah,
that's ridiculous.
That's great.
You have a favorite book, but I was wondering, do you read any of Jocko's books or follow him at all?
I'm not familiar. No.
Jocko Willink, Willink. He's a Navy SEAL that his whole shtick, like he has a podcast where he just brings on military folks and a lot of military, but other folks too. But it's all on leadership.
Okay, I'll check it out.
And his first and main book is called Extreme Ownership. That if you own all the problems or issues in your unit, or in yourself, you got a better shot of handling them. So I don't know if you read him at all or follow his podcast. Or he has leadership like on-site clinics and stuff.
Okay, cool. So I'll check it out. Jocko
Willink, yeah. This could be fiction or nonfiction, real life or not. Favorite hero?
Like a superhero?
Could be a superhero, it could be your dad, it could be like your priest, or it could be, I don't know, Superman.
Yeah, I'll say two. Batman. So big Batman fan. If I got to pick a superhero, it's Batman.
All right.
He's one of us, just has a bunch of money.
That's not really one of us, by the way. Like he's uber wealthy by a magnitude there, but yeah.
I know, but he can't like fly, like he
has all the money to pay for all the toys to fly.
Yeah, right. So, but he's also, yeah, I love Batman. There's like a dark side there that I really like. And then I have this coach, this mentor of mine named Dan, who is just extremely attentive to me. He's a great guy. He's been transformative in my own journey. So awesome. Dan comes to mind.
How about a villain?
Palpatine. Emperor Palpatine from Star Wars.
Not the Joker?
No. I'm not scared of the Joker.
Really?
I'm scared of Palpatine, though. That guy's sick. So is the Joker, though.
Right.
I feel like I'd have the Joker in, like, my office for therapy,
No chance.
I hope so. The guy could use a couple sessions, I'd say.
I think he'd turn you on yourself.
No. I'm too strong.
No chance. Let's see. Do you still row on the erg machine?
So I'll erg every once in a while, yeah. And solo rowing is like it's a double I didn't roll like that. So if I could get a 4-man group, I'd go out and do it. But it feels just trickier as an adult. Like as a kid, you just go and do stuff, and just feels a little trickier. But
That's because those neural pathways are a bit set right
Yeah,
now, and
they're
you're
not.
older. But when you're a kid,
yeah, you just roll. Yeah,
blank slate and figure it out.
yeah. And you got the time. Well, I did. Kids are a lot busier now, but they're. I don't know. We just went and did it. So no, I'm not rowing much, and
Okay.
I'll erg every once in a while. I wouldn't say it's a common workout for me.
Gotcha. You got a quote for us?
Oh gosh, if you judge a fish by its ability to climb a tree, it'll always be stupid.
Okay.
That's an Einstein quote.
Is that right?
Yeah, I love that quote. It says if you judge a fish by its ability to climb a tree, then it's always dumb. It's always failing. But it's
Right.
not meant for that. I love that quote. Let's call things
Gotcha.
what they are, yeah.
Where can people find you?
I've got a website, Foxwood. My business is called Foxwood, so foxwoodcc.org. And then I got an Instagram page. I'm not super active on there, but you can find all my information on there. That's Foxwood_CC, at Foxwood_CC. Then I'm on
Gotcha.
LinkedIn, just my name, which will be in the show.
Bryce Roberts. Yeah.
Yep, you can find
Okay.
me on there.
Man,
So-
for those that want to get a hold of us, info@athlete-builder.com. Check out Bryce, and when you're working with people, which all sports require working with people, it's going to be a limiting factor or it could be a strength that you can leverage. Either way, there's a way to get better. And so look at Bryce, look at what we do here at Athlete Builder, and we're all about asking that question, what's next? Hunting for weaknesses and finding ways to evolve and improve. So that's what we're about. So get a hold of Bryce or get a hold of us over at Athlete Builder, and we'll take those next steps together. Bryce, thanks again for being on the show, man. Loved having you on. Thank you.
Oh, yeah. Happy to be here. Thanks again for asking.
All right, we'll see you.
Bye.